Hello there. Someone once asked me if I just stay in socks during the entirety of my YouTube filming. No, there are always slippers waiting down here that get put on immediately after I slide in. Now, in the time since I last saw you, all of the leaves have turned like brilliant orange and red, and daylight savings has either started or stopped, and I'm never really quite sure which one. But that means I am in peak cozy season, and my drink preferences tend to shift a little bit towards that direction as well, meaning I'm looking for things that are warm, comforting, and delicious. So today we are gonna make 3 winter coffee drinks that you can make at home. And alternatively, they're all 3 winter coffee drinks that are kind of riffs on the mocha structure. So that's gonna be chocolate, milk, and espresso. If you like those things, you will probably like the drinks we're gonna make today. All of these have a little bit of effort that goes into them, so they're kind of fun projects to take on, and they also yield ingredients that you can save and carry on for further drinks. So we're gonna be a little bit extra today, but we're also gonna make some delicious stuff. Let's get started. Now, as a little overview as to how today is gonna play, we're gonna be making a cardamom white chocolate mocha. We're also gonna be making a spiced cinnamon mocha. And lastly, we're gonna be making a s'mores mocha. So some fun things, some really tasty things, but the first thing we have to do is actually prep an ingredient for a later recipe. We have to get started on our graham cracker milk. This is gonna be for one of our last drinks, which is gonna be that s'mores mocha. Now, making infused like grain or cereal milks is pretty easy, and we've done it in a few videos, so I'm not gonna go too deep in the process, but today we're using graham crackers. If you don't have these in your country or area that you live in, this is like a slightly sweet wheat-based cracker. The sweetener that is used in these is honey. So if you have anything that is like a honey, kind of like rich wheat cracker, that will probably substitute pretty well. You can also add like a little bit of a dash of cinnamon to get even closer to the flavor. However, graham crackers are a pretty iconic treat in the US, and they are used primarily in the making of s'mores, which is a campfire snack. Now, what you do with a s'more is you mash together a charred, like cooked marshmallow with a slice of chocolate in between 2 graham cracker halves. And you eat it like a sandwich. It's delicious and it's messy, but graham crackers are an important component, and we're gonna incorporate this into our drink by making a milk with them. The more you crumble up your graham crackers as you put them into your carafe, the more surface area you're creating, and the faster this graham cracker milk will come into being. I've done this enough times that I kind of know my measurements, but I'm cracking up 4 pieces of graham crackers, which equals to almost exactly 60 grams of graham crackers by weight. Ooh, very close, 61.9. You can do this process with any sort of milk that you like. We're using whole milk today. Just kind of fill that up to the top. I find for about 60 grams of graham crackers, I like to go in with about 450 grams of milk. This should be plenty for at least 2 drinks. Give this a stir, just to kind of incorporate everything. We're gonna set this to the side. We'll come back to this later. I want to give a huge thank you to Helix for sponsoring today's video. I spent a majority of college experiencing back pain every morning, and it gave me an appreciation for how much of a difference your mattress makes in your physical wellness. Heck, if you're going to be spending 6 to 8 hours a day on it, you should make sure it's helping you rather than hurting you. Helix provides premium mattresses that are customized to fit your exact sleep needs and are conveniently shipped to your door, meaning you avoid the chaos that is trying to transport a mattress home. Helix's sleep quiz matches you based on your body type and sleep preferences, and the one that Graham and I got paired with was the Helix Midnight Luxe with the Glaciotex cooling cover. Since one of us is a side sleeper and the other one is a back sleeper, we needed something that would work for both of us while also keeping us from overheating at night. But just like we all have different sleeping behaviors, Helix has many different options, and there is a 100-night sleep trial offered, so you can ensure that you're getting your best night's rest as possible. Helix mattresses include a 10-year warranty, and they offer flexible payment plans should you need it. Helix mattresses are free from harmful fiberglass materials, and also, just to sweeten the pot, Helix delivers right to your door with free shipping in the US. Their mattresses are easy to get set up, and you'll soon be snoozing comfortably with the knowledge that your mattress was tailor-picked for you. So if you're ready to get started and to get your best night's rest with Helix, you can head to the top link in the description to get 25% off for your mattress, plus 2 free pillows. Helix has great Cyber Week deals that are available for a limited time, so that's helixsleep.com/MDC for 25% off. Now this first drink is a white chocolate cardamom mocha with smoked rosemary, and I can already hear the comments about white chocolate. However, my defense about it is, first of all, that I find white chocolate enjoyable. I'm in the camp of people who like it for the most part. But additionally, when you go into a coffee shop, you never really order a white chocolate latte. It's always a white chocolate mocha. So I am considering it in the family here. And additionally, it goes very well with these other flavors that we're incorporating. So if white chocolate is not for you, do not worry. We have many more drinks not involving it today. However, this is definitely one of the most visually interesting drinks. So we're starting off with smoking our glass here with rosemary. I have a little wooden cutting board here that I use for all of my smoking procedures. You can make this entire process happen with a match if you are so inclined. However, I happen to have a little kitchen torch here. Some nice small sprigs of rosemary. Make sure that my glass fits over them. One note about smoking a glass is you wanna make sure your glass is a bit chilled. You don't want it on the hot side. You want something for that smoke to adhere to. So even though this drink is gonna be built hot, because we're adding espresso and milk and a whole bunch of things later on, I'm not too concerned that my glass is pretty cool right now. But as always, experiment around, figure out what works for you. It's always a fun day when we get to play with fire around here. Okay, let that smoke gather for like 40 seconds. In the meantime, let's talk about our other ingredients. As with most espresso drinks, we do need some espresso. So I have a double shot of espresso pulled here. This is about 40 grams / mils in total, and that tends to be the amount I like to build espresso drinks with. Now I have 3/4 ounces of a white chocolate sauce. I will weigh this out once we add it to the cup for those of you who prefer weight conversions. Now you can of course always make a white chocolate sauce yourself. However, if you are purchasing it, the only thing I will caution you with is to find a nice high quality one that you enjoy. White chocolate, I find more so than milk or dark chocolate, has a tendency to taste worse when it's at a lower quality. It's a little bit less forgiving, so just be cautious of that. Now, as maybe a slightly more interesting ingredient, we're gonna be using cardamom bitters here for our cardamom element. You typically see bitters in cocktails. One thing I will note is that bitters do technically have alcohol in them, but you're using such a tiny amount that it's pretty much negligible. However, something to definitely be aware of if that is not something you want to indulge in. Regardless though, bitters are quite bitter, and they are really intense in the flavor that they are infused with. So we're gonna be adding this to really cut through that buttery sweetness that the white chocolate has. And lastly, we have some more fresh rosemary. These are gonna be used for our garnish. Our cup is done, and it smells very rosemary-like. So, white chocolate first. That is about 30 grams of white chocolate. Double shot of espresso. I'm gonna do 2 dashes of cardamom bitters, which I suppose, if you want the weight for that, is about 0.5 grams. Now I get a tiny spoon from tiny spoon drawer, and we stir. Now you can use whatever type of milk you want with this. We're using whole milk, and I recommend you steam up about 8 ounces of milk. This is gonna be about a 10-ounce drink in total. Now we assemble. We have a lovely, tasty drink right here, but let's add some garnish. Found a nice, relatively tall sprig here. And just kind of pop that little guy in right there. The sprig is for garnish. It's for increased aromatics. Since you have something directly smoking under your nose, you can remove it whenever you like, but for now, let's sip. I mean, if you're gonna put white chocolate in coffee, this is a pretty decent way to do that. Okay though, let's move on to something a little bit darker. The next thing we're gonna make is a spiced mocha. And we are not just simply spicing this with like baking spices, we're actually gonna make this spicy, which is kind of exciting. Now, you could of course infuse a chocolate syrup with spices and flavors and stuff. However, we're gonna do this by splitting up the syrup component of this beverage into 2 separate categories. We're gonna have the chocolate side, and then we're gonna have the spiced syrup side. This means you can really dial in that spiciness to whatever you like or however your guests like it. But additionally, it also leaves you with a nice spiced syrup that you can use for other things, should you wish. For this, I'm gonna be using Demerara sugar. I have some whole cinnamon sticks to kind of round out our flavor profile. Then I have some chilies. Now these are dried arbol chilies. You can use whatever chilies you like. Different chilies have different flavors, so if you have one that you lean towards, go ahead and use that. But I find that these have a really nice, like, intense spice level, as well as a really nice, rich, kind of smoky, spiced flavor. I think it goes well in the syrup and also with coffee. Now, let's get a pot. We're gonna be making a rich syrup today, so we're gonna be using 2 parts sugar to 1 part water. 200 grams of Demerara sugar, 100 grams of water. Now we add our fun additional things. I'm gonna crack up 2 large cinnamon sticks for this. This is the equivalent of about 11 grams of whole cinnamon. Almost forgot to grab a glove. I do recommend when handling hotter chilies like these, to use a glove, especially if you're a little bit more accident prone like me. You don't wanna forget to wash your hands and go directly from touching chilies to touching your face. We're just gonna do our best to minimize the chance of accident as much as possible. I can already smell them too. They smell great. These are dried chilies, seeds and all. I'm not gonna crush them up any further because I want these to be easy to strain out when that time comes. All right, by weight, that is about 5 grams of chilies. If you've watched my syrup videos in the past, you know what this process is like. We're gonna heat this up on a medium to like low heat until it reaches a simmer and all the sugar is dissolved. Then we're gonna reduce it down to a low, so fully off boil. And we're gonna let this infuse for about 15 minutes. So I will see you when that process is all done. Okay, we have a really nice, rich, spiced, infused cinnamon syrup right here. What you need to do now is strain this out into something you can save it in. Ooh, that's a really nice color. That's good. Okay, let's assemble our drink. This one's pretty simple now. We have chocolate sauce, we have espresso, we have our spiced syrup, and we have some milk. This is a nice, pretty dark chocolate, which is what I usually prefer in mochas. That is about 15 grams of chocolate. Now with our spiced syrup, this is really where you get to play around. If you wanna do a full 1-to-1 ratio, go for it. If you wanna do something that's more heavier on the spiced syrup rather than the chocolate, go for it. I'm gonna go in with about 10 grams of our spiced syrup. So this is gonna be light, just gonna be a little hint of heat. It's not gonna be overpowering in here. Still want this to be mostly chocolate forward. 10 grams. Add your espresso, and give it a good whisk. Once more, I'm gonna go steam up about 8 ounces of milk. We could definitely be done here, but I like a little garnish, so we're gonna put some cinnamon on top. Just a very, very light sprinkle. Be very delicate with this. I will say there are not many pet peeves that I have, but I will say the one thing that drives me crazy is when you have cinnamon in a drink and it's all just kind of powdered on top without being incorporated, and you as the drinker just end up taking the cinnamon challenge every time you take a sip. That is not what this is intended to be. This is a little bit of visual flair and a little bit more aromatics on the nose. It's nice, you know, it's very nice. All right, enjoy your spiced mocha. This is a good one. If I didn't have one more drink to make, I'd be tempted to finish this off here. However, we have one more drink. We already started one of the ingredients. Let's continue onto our s'mores latte. All right, so it has been about 30 minutes since we started the steeping of our graham cracker milk, and it should look suitably soggy at this point. So strain out the chunks. We're gonna use what we have left. And this never goes well for me, and yet I neglect to buy better carafes that would work better for this process. All right, here goes. Actually, you know what? I want to count my chickens before they hatch, but all things considered, this went a little bit better than I was expecting. It's like milking a graham cracker. What we have in the top is just a puree of graham cracker at this point. Okay, that's pretty well juiced. It smells so good. Again, if you don't have graham crackers in your vicinity, I'm very sorry. These are like a classic, I feel like, American childhood experience. They're very tasty if you ever can get your hands on them. Moving on though, we are starting off with our cup. We now have our base of chocolate. I'm gonna eyeball this, but I know this is roughly 25 grams. Espresso, a vigorous stir. And here's where we get a little bit funky. This could be the ingredient you can omit if if you choose to do so. I'm gonna add the teeniest dash of liquid smoke here. Now, as I mentioned before, s'mores are traditionally a campfire drink, and so we would be remiss if we didn't include a little bit of that campfire essence here. Now, this stuff is very powerful. This stuff goes crazy if you let it, so be very cautious. Just add like the tiniest drop. I'm gonna get a spoon and just do this very cautiously. This is a nice inclusion, but this is the optional ingredient if there is one in this drink. Literally just like 2 drops. Now, your graham cracker milk. Something I will prep you with this sort of milk preparation, this is true of most cereal milks as well, is that this milk will steam perhaps a little bit differently than you're used to. With whole milk, the fats and the proteins in the whole milk usually can compensate the additional like particulate we've added with the graham cracker. However, with oat milk or alternative milks, you sometimes run into a little bit of trouble like getting the air to hold. Even though we strained out most of the graham cracker, there's still extra bits in here, and so it just sometimes takes a little bit longer to get the hang of steaming milks like this. So if it doesn't go perfectly the first time, have no fear, it will still taste delicious. I've steamed up quite a bit of milk, but as I mentioned before, that recipe that we did can be spread into 2 drinks if you so desire. All right, all the smells happening right here. Very nice. All things considered, I steamed that up pretty well. Once more, we could be finished here, but there is a very specific element of this snack that we have not yet included. So, I have some marshmallows, and additionally, I have some more fire. These are just little cocktail skewers. If you want to use a toothpick, that works great as well. Just gonna thread on like 2 marshmallows. Use fire with caution, as always. I like a burnt marshmallow. I don't know, I don't really want to disrupt the art, but we're just gonna kind of place that on the side right there. Oh, and it pillows up so nicely. And that is your s'mores mocha. One would assumedly not want to just sip through the marshmallows constantly, so I do recommend to kind of dip into your mocha and consume the marshmallows first, and then get to your drink. However, I want it to look pretty for a little bit, so let's just try the drink first. It's nice. It is very nice indeed. So, here are your 3 winter drinks that you should be trying this season, or alternatively, 3 variations on mochas that are interesting, delicious. Once more, we have our white chocolate cardamom mocha, smoked rosemary. We have our spicy mocha over here with a cinnamon chili syrup. And lastly, we have our s'mores mocha. All delicious, all very possible at home, and I hope if you try them, you let me know how they go. Now, I'm gonna include written versions of all of these drinks down below in the description. Additionally, in the near future, there will be some blog posts that are up that detail the process a little bit more. I'll keep you posted on when those happen though. In the meantime, since it is the most fresh, I'm gonna take the s'mores mocha and I'm gonna go enjoy. So, my name is Morgan. You can find me here on YouTube once a week plus shorts. Additionally, you can find me on TikTok or Instagram almost every single day. If you want more drink recipes like these, you can go to morgandrinkscoffee.com where I have a blog section where you can find stuff like this. In the meantime, I hope you have a great week. This has been fun, interesting, and very tasty for me. So I'll see you all next time. Bye everyone.